Namaskar, I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Welcome to the brand new edition of Self-Reliant India, a show where we take a closer look at developments in diverse sectors to better understand and articulate the rise of India. Today, we discuss the budgetary allocations for power sector. We'll also focus on new and renewable energy sector, key areas of growth, challenges, and more. Let me quickly introduce the special guests who are joining us in the program today. We have with us Shubhendu J. Sinha, Advisor, Niti Aayog. We are also joined by Sambitosh Mahapatra, Leader, Energy, Utility and Resources, PwC. In a short while, we are also expecting to connect with Dr. P.C. Maithani, Advisor to Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Shubhendu Sinha, if I can begin with you. Power sector, as we understand, there are three components. We talk about generation, we talk about transmission, and we talk about distribution. Distribution is the sector where most of the focus goes to. How do you see an overview of the power sector, the challenges that lie ahead, and the manner in which the budget allocation has been done? Shubhendu Sinha is yet to connect with us. Sambitosh Mahapatra, let me bring that question to you.
Yeah, so thanks for joining me.
Welcome, sir.
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. So absolutely well put. The focus of this government is very clear in the budget. Long pending investment, which we had anticipated to come in last year, was clearly there this year, with more than a 3 lakh crore investment outlay over the next 5 years outlined for distribution. And that is very clearly laid out also. That would be linked to financial performance of the utilities across various states. And it would be spent on smart meters, feeder segregation, upgradation of the network. So absolutely clear focus there. And the industry was seeking this out over a long period of time. So that's one. The second interesting thing which also has been brought out is the framework for customers to choose their own distribution operators. Now, while the nuances, the tenets and the details will come out over a subsequent period,
right,
this is another element which is really heartened the customers for sure, because they would get now quality affordable. There would be competition in the distribution segment at the operator level. So I would say these two significant initiatives brought about by in the budget, which we are looking out for.
Right.
Over the last, let me say, 5 years.
Right. And Sambitosh, if you could simplify for our viewers, when Finance Minister expresses concern over the viability of distribution companies, if you could help us understand the crisis that lies at the heart of it, and the reforms we'll talk about one by one, but the crisis that lies with the distribution discoms.
Yeah. So if to put it on a broader national level, what happens is at a distribution utility level, we have about 5,50,000 crores of revenue, if you add all the state utilities together. Today, that 5,50,000 crores, we are having a deficit of about 60,000 crores annually, okay? Which means that be it towards agriculture, electricity supply, or due to inefficiency, state governments literally have to put in about 60,000 crores annually into this segment, right, which is worrisome because it is literally about 10-12% of the annual revenues in a deficit. And if that could be plugged, then we can use that money into the other sectors which is in need of that, which is more education, health, sanitation, all of that. So if power sector can only be commercially run and the figure, the deficit that I'm talking about, 60,000 crores, goes down significantly, that would really help states to focus on the social sectors, which is the need today.
Right.
So that's where the heart of the comments which were coming over the last 10, the distribution, this is what they want to plug in.
Right. Sambitosh, also one of the reforms that you highlighted was more power to the customer to choose the power company from where one wants to buy electricity. Such reforms will automatically induce competition in the market as well. Right. How does that address the crisis that we're talking about facing the discoms? So more competition, more choice for the customer, empowerment for the customers. How does the fortune of the discoms change with that?
So the government over the last 6, 7 years has been very systematic in how they approach the problem, right? So this was an idea which was actually shared by Mr. Modi in 2014 that I will give choice to customers. Now, what happened subsequent to that is when you looked at the discom, a lot of Indian customers, and literally to the extent of about 30 million about households, were not connected to the grid. So we ran a large program over the last 3, 4 years under the aegis of Sobhagya, right? So therefore, the focus was to first get all customers onto the grid, whatever manner. So that was a highly successful model. Over the last, let me say 12 months back, we got every customer, willing customer onto the grid. So that was one focus area, right? The second focus area, now that they are planning to plug, they ran under a scheme of Uday, where Uday looked at the kind of debt which the utilities had and they linked it to say that why are you not doing a financial restructuring? And most of the utilities at that point of time had debt at around 14%, 16% and all. A lot of state to the tune of about 2 lakh crores was done to actually get these debt percentages down to about 8%. So that provided a lot of relief to the utilities in terms of the financial and the cost structures. Now the last element is coming where they are saying that by implementing technology, be it smart meters, feeder segregations, upgrading your network, can we plug in the technical losses in the network, which is one element, and then also to ensure that prepaid smart metering systems at the customer end would also plug in the commercial losses. These two together, if they can plug in the 60,000 crores of annual deficit which is there in this sector, would actually help the whole value chain, because do understand that the distribution is the fag end of the value chain, and the 60,000 that you commercially make it sustainable, viable, that flows back into the transmission, into your renewable, into your IPPs, into your central sector generation companies, and also to the equipment manufacturers. So by plugging this, you will actually get the whole value chain in place. That I would say is the third. And the fourth, for sure, what we have already seen in financial sectors, right? So every customer today wants the choices to happen on his mobile, which means that if I want to source a health insurance, car insurance, even telecom, if I want to do a portability, that was quite possible, let me say about 5, 6 years back. Today, we are trying to do a big, significant move ahead by saying that a customer can also do that by choosing its own distribution companies. Yes, there will be a preparatory time needed for existing distribution companies to respond to this, because you require metering systems, you require universal service obligations to be clarified, you require provider of last resort to be clarified, you require new institutions to be created. So yes, that's a preparatory period to be there, but in next 2 to 3 years, we seriously believe that large part of our customers would get that choice going.
Right.
Sure.
Right. And Sambitosh, if we go into the specifics of the technology interventions, and Finance Minister also says how innovation and R&D are the pillars of the budget and the nation's growth looking forward. Prepaid smart metering, how transformative could that technology be also for the customers? We know power loss, power theft are challenges facing the power sector as well. These metering devices, how do they seek to transform the manner in which the sector works?
So let me put on 3-4 things which it will try to solve.
Sure.
There are multiple things which are there, but let me take the first top 3. First of all, as soon as you have a smart meter, I exactly know your consumption pattern of a customer over a period of the day, right, or a month or a season. I can actually appropriately align my generation sources to it and actually make the tariff more flexible. Today, a customer doesn't have the flexibility in tariff. You do have slab-wise tariffs, but that's aggregated on a monthly basis, which will be transformative. So that's number 1. Second, let me say DBT, right? So as soon as you have smart meters, you exactly know the customers, and you can actually pass on the agriculture subsidy which is needed by our farmer community directly to the farmer's bank account. So I can actually do a KYC of customers, link it to the smart meter, and the government can actually use the DBT mechanisms to actually send the money to who need it very clearly. That I would say is the second part. And the third part is, as soon as you have smart meters, you would actually kickstart a whole startup ecosystem in this sector. Today, this sector also, because it has been loss making, has not been attracting the kind of talent that this sector would appropriately need, or a technology platform. As soon as you bring in this smart meter, which becomes the centerpiece of all the IoT technology upgradation,
Right.
you get in a lot of these startup ecosystems which will come, and they'll give you so much of facilities which can be integrated to your smart meter. And the smart meter subsequently can not only be for electricity, let me articulate, it can also be for your gas, for your water. So that in your own home premises would give a lot of fillip even to home automation, how you consume electricity. So therefore, I am quite enthused and encouraged that this has the transformational potential.
Right.
Now, the only challenge I see is the government has laid out that in the next 3 to 4 years, it needs to be implemented. And I am again putting it out there that execution would be key. If we actually do the 250 million smart meters in the next 3 to 4 years, it has a transformational ability where we can lead our energy transition to. But if we miss the bus and we do it over a 10-year period or 12-year period, then we will actually miss the potential that it could be harnessed for. So
Right.
that's my take on this.
Right, right. Sambitosh, do continue to stay with us while we connect with our next guest. Shubhendu Sinha is joining us, advisor Niti Aayog. Welcome, Mr. Sinha. Now, we were talking with Sambitosh about the road ahead for the power sector, and execution of the reforms turns out to be the key aspect. How do you see the road ahead for the power sector in the context of budgetary allocations and the reforms, the large-scale reforms that have been planned? Mr. Sinha.
Okay, I was listening very carefully. Basically, the kind of allocation that has been made, the way government's commitment has been reiterated through that allocation, it is very clear that in times to come, the entire ecosystem of this power thing is going to have a transformational change. Whether they have attempted to address all the elements of the system, such as source, whether it is generation, transmission, distribution, or an engine for finance,
Right.
trying to blend professionalism into the entire system. We heard the earlier participant that he was speaking about the digital intervention, the way IoT can be combined to have a smart metering and other devices. Net idea is, the grand plan is that we need to have an energy security with the purpose of having inclusive development. And of course, for the customer, he has to pay, he should be only asked to pay for the actual consumption and the actual cost of the electricity. So that means that the role of tariff regulators also come into being, and that is where we could say that availability of data becomes very, very significant, so that the regulation becomes correct and to the point, which appeals, which is acceptable to the consumers. That is the reason why in all the spheres where the sources are there is tremendous emphasis on renewables, and then discoms, of course, there's emphasis on how to reform discoms in a big way, to go ahead with the kind of global benchmarking, to develop a kind of index for the entire country, so that to fostering competitiveness into the system. These are some of the grand plans and the methodology that the government is adopting. And of course, the investment that has been planned, it is fabulous. And as the previous speaker rightly said, that if we are able to put in place this smart metering thing, that will become a single piece for transformational change. Yes, very correct.
Right. And Mr. Sinha, if you talk about the generation aspect of generation of power aspect of the power sector, we'll talk about renewable in just a moment, but we know that coal-fired power stations still contribute to about 60% of the power requirements, electricity production in the country. And they also have a life efficiency, about 20-30 years is their best production time. How much of focus is required in the infrastructure upgradation to ensure that power is also produced more efficiently. How much of a focus do you think is lying there?
It requires a lot of focus, and already we are on that way. You know, in the generation companies, let's take it a little forward. We have already made a kind of commitment that our fuel basket will be diversified, and at least 40% of the cumulative stuff has to be from the renewables. By that one means that, okay, renewables, if we talk it later, even the sources of the hydrocarbon sources, they have got to be absolutely clean to the extent possible. So the concept of clean coal, for example, the quality coal, for example, those things are coming in. How to reduce the carbon content so that more and more efficiency can be brought in. On one hand, all these coal companies, they are also keen to improve upon their systems so that the quality of coal, whatever it is, and how best it could be improved with the technological advancement that could be achieved on one stage. On the second hand, government is making all efforts, or they are going whole hog to bring about solar and wind and other renewables into the system. You know, one can see the visible presence of it, and you can read it right on the wall, that what is going to be future of this power sector, which is energy security and as a grand plan. Yes.
Right. If I could bring in Dr. P.C. Maithani, advisor to Ministry of New and Renewable Energy at this point in time. Dr. Maithani, welcome to this discussion. From you, we'd like to first learn about how much of justice does the budget do to the cause of renewable energy. Mrs. Sinha was telling us about how crucial it is to increase its percentage in our energy basket. We have a mega target, 450 gigawatts by 2030. But where do we stand as of now, and vis-a-vis the budget in particular?
Thank you very much for inviting,
Sure,
and thank you for the deliberations just I heard. You look that renewable energy is a strategic national resource.
Yes.
And since last 6 years, increasing share of renewable energy has been central to the government of India's policies. And if you see the progress which have been done since last 6 years, we have more than 2.6 times increased our total installed capacity of renewable energy. And particularly in solar, our achievement has gone 14 times. Whatsoever capacity was there in 2014, we have gone 14 times more than that. So now renewable energy has firmly mainstreamed in the country's energy mix now. And this is, India is looking for cleaning its energy resources, as just mentioned by the panelists from the Planning Commission also, that we have already committed 40% of our non-fossil fuel share will come by 2030. And we are moving in that journey. Intermediate goal of 175 GAX by 2022, and later aspirational goal for 450 gigawatts by 2030 are the national ambitions. If we see from that perspective, the budget recently, the announcement has been done in the budget are really very contextual, very important, and they will give a new lease and new impetus for renewable energy in the country. I'll go briefly one by one.
Yes.
The first, the major incentive which has been given for the solar energy. You see that our solar energy targets were increased 5 times in 2015 from 20,000 megawatt to 1 lakh megawatt by 2022. And this created a lot of demand in the country. As I just said that we have already achieved 14 times from that period, but now what difficulty we are facing that the domestic production of the solar cells and modules have not increased with that pace. One of the reason was that our costs were not competitive due to various reasons, including by some undue advantages which is given by the other countries. That was also one of the reasons. So this budget has done a kind of new incentive, that is the production linked incentive for production of solar modules in the country. So this 4,500 crore rupees which have been provided in this budget will create additional 10,000 megawatt capacity domestically manufactured solar modules in the country. This will meet the immediate requirement for the country. Apart from that, this 10,000 megawatt capacity which will come by the year 2023, that it will create a market for 17,000 plus balance of the system products, like sunglasses are required, junction box are required, back seats are required, and many more things which are required that will also be created. So this is adding not only for creating innovation within the country and contributing to the Atmanirbhar Bharat, but at the same time, it will create new additional jobs. Right. It will create country's leadership. And the long-term objective of this is that India should, in a definitive time period, will become a global leader in the field of the solar energy technologies. And another point which has been specifically mentioned in this, it is not that the efficiencies will remain at the same level. It is specifically targeted for the high efficiency solar cells, because this ecosystem is changing at very fast rate. Every day new innovation is coming up. Efficiencies are increasing, costs are decreasing. And we foresee that by the year 2030, solar energy will certainly be one of the major energy source in the country. So that is one thing, but we require other things also, because when we set up the project, we require finances, we require somebody should handhold.
Right.
So the budget has done two more things in this. One is that the Solar Energy Corporation of India, which have been instrumental in generating more capacity in the country and then facilitating setting up the plant, buying, procuring energy, distributing among the distribution companies. They have been given 1,000 crore rupees for making their equity base, number one, and for strengthening their payment security mechanism.
Right.
So this 1,000 crore rupees which has come from this budget will leverage 17,000 crore rupees for Solar Energy Corporation of India.
Right.
It will
and
not only strengthen the payment security, but at the same time, it will help them to set up some of the plant at their own also, like NTPC has been doing in the similar manner in the solar. They will be facilitating this.
Right. And Dr. Mathani, talking about constantly looking for cleaner sources of energy, the budget also talks about the vision and potential of National Hydrogen Mission. On that front, if you could give us a broad idea about what it entails and the potential that it carries in meeting India's energy needs.
Yeah, so I'm coming to that. Just let me complete another component of the budget, that is about the project finance.
Sure.
The Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency is the another window which gives money for financing the project. So they have been given 1,500 crore rupees, and this will be leveraged around 12,000 crore rupees for financing renewable energy projects. So these are the three things which are the ongoing. The new thing which has happened in this budget is that Government of India has announced launching of the National Hydrogen Energy Mission. And this is really path-breaking in many ways. My Ministry of Renewable Energy, has been working on this since quite a few times. We have constituted a committee that in what manner hydrogen will change the landscape of the energy in the country. There are three major things which will be done through this hydrogen mission. First is that increasing the share of renewable energy in the electricity mix. You know that solar and wind energy are inform power. We get some time, we don't get some time. So hydrogen will serve as to address the intermittency of the solar and wind energy for storage purposes. And this will increase the share of renewable energy in the electricity mix, number one. Second part, which hydrogen energy is likely to do, is that hydrogen is a major source for transport automatic fuel. For the long duration, long distance travel and other electric vehicles based on batteries may not be that cost competitive. So it is expected that hydrogen will meet that gap, and hydrogen will diversify renewable energy in the automotive purposes. And we have started some pilots, including in railways, in some locations also, where hydrogen can be used as the automotive fuel. Third and most important thing in the industries where mainly dependent on the carbon or petrochemicals or liquid fossil fuel or solid fossil fuels, there also hydrogen can make a major headway. For example, in the fertilizer industry, where ammonia is utilized, green hydrogen can replace the conventional ammonia production, and this can be replaced by the green ammonia. This is one of the major things which we are looking at, how the hydrogen produced from renewable sources can replace hydrogen that is produced from natural gas and other fossil fuels. In steel making also, where coking coal is used, and then how this coking coal can be replaced by the hydrogen. So in all the sectors, whether it is for the electricity sector, for the automotive purposes, as well as for the industries where it is very difficult to diversify energy, hydrogen energy is considered one of the major things. So we have already developed some contours of the National Hydrogen Energy Mission. We expect that the first draft will be ready by this month itself. And thereafter we'll go for the approval processes from the cabinet and other. And this year itself, we are quite sure that we'll be launching a massive National Hydrogen Energy Mission.
And we'll be keenly watching, sir, how transformative the National Hydrogen Mission is going to be. We'll be concluding this special discussion a little briefly. Let me thank all the guests who joined us in the program. Dr. Mathani, Shubhendu Sinha, Sambitosh Mahapatra, thanks very much for joining us for this edition of Self-Reliant India. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a short while from now, will be participating in an important conversation with Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, and the subject in focus would be the Shetut Dam agreement. My colleague Arun Sharma is joining us at the moment to get us more details. Arun, fill us in with the details of this special engagement that is going to happen in a short while from now between India and Afghanistan.
Good noon, Shubhendu and all of viewers. Well, today is an important day, primarily very significant day as far as India-Afghanistan ties are concerned. Today, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is going to, connect virtually with Afghanistan President Mr. Ashraf Ghani. So you can say that Delhi will be virtually connected with the heart of Asia, that is Afghanistan, and this is the first virtual meet of Prime Minister Narendra Modi in this new year 2021. Well, during the COVID pandemic time, Shubhendu, we have seen that how Prime Minister Narendra Modi had virtually connected with various countries, be it the EU, be it Luxembourg, Sri Lanka, and various other countries. And this time, this is for the first time in this new year that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is virtually connecting with Afghanistan. And it's a significant and historic day because the signing of agreement as far as Shahtoot Dam in Afghanistan is concerned, that is very much likely on the cards. Second important aspect, Shubhendu, is that we know this fact that as far as Afghanistan is concerned, India has been at the forefront as far as various developmental project is concerned. So earlier also we have seen that in 2015, Prime Minister Narendra Modi did visit Afghanistan for the inauguration purposes for the new parliament building in Afghanistan. In 2016, we have seen that the Salma Dam, or the Afghanistan-India Friendship Dam, was inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. He did visit Afghanistan at that point in time. So this is a second important dam that today the signing agreement is going to happen between India and Afghanistan, whereby India is playing a significant role as far as this entire construction of this Shahtoot Dam is concerned. Now it is expected that because of the Shahtoot Dam, close to 2 million people in Afghanistan will get potable water for drinking purposes, and it will also play an important role as far as irrigation purpose in Afghanistan is concerned. Earlier, we have seen that how the Salma Dam, or the Afghanistan-India Friendship Dam, has played an important role in providing water in Afghanistan, in the tough terrains of Afghanistan. So on the other side, we have seen that how India has been at forefront as far as construction of many projects. We know this fact that India is committed and has pledged more than 150 developmental and infrastructure projects in Afghanistan. And the new parliament building that was inaugurated in 2015, that is one of them. Salma Dam is one of them. You'll be surprised to know, Shubhendu, that when we talk about the parliament building in Afghanistan being constructed by India, one of the blocks is being named on the name of former Prime Minister of India, Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. So one block in Afghanistan parliament is known as the Atal block as well. So we can understand the fact that how important Afghanistan is for India and how important is India for Afghanistan.
Absolutely, Arun. And on those, on that front of development partnership, we know that stability and growth of Afghanistan is not just an obvious priority for the nation, Afghanistan, but also for the entire region. On every multilateral platforms, development in Afghanistan, stability, peace in Afghanistan comes up as a major priority. And in that, India has emerged as a major development partner. You gave very good details of all the infrastructure projects that India has participated in. But to bring that peace and stability in the country, also, India has played a key role.
Absolutely, Shubhendu, because India understands this fact that answer to the problems like cross-border terrorism, answer to the problems like instability in the region is only developmental part. So the moment you start developing infrastructure projects or developmental projects, the other issues start to get sorted out. So we have seen that how not only as far as peace and stability is concerned, but specifically during the COVID times as well, India has extended its as far as its neighborhood first policy, India has extended its help to Afghanistan as well, as far as supplying of 75,000 tons of wheat to Afghanistan. Because there was crisis during the COVID pandemic time as far as food grains are concerned. So India not only helping its own people, but also extending help to Afghanistan as well by providing 75,000 tons of wheat to Afghanistan. Second important part, 20,000 tons of medical equipment, hydroxychloroquine medicine was also supplied to Afghanistan during COVID pandemic time. So this shows that how committed India is as far as developmental part is concerned, as far as extending help during the pandemic time is concerned. And recently 500,000 doses of made in India vaccine has also been supplied by India to Afghanistan. So now the made in India vaccine will be playing a key role as far as fight against COVID is concerned in Afghanistan as well. So as far as fight against COVID-19 vaccination is concerned, or be it fight against terrorism, the cross-border terrorism, or combating those groups who are trying to create instability in region, India has been on the forefront. Last but not the least, India has also played an important role, Shubhendu, as far as evacuation evacuation process of Afghanis are concerned, I mean, more than 15,000 Afghanis were sent back to Afghanistan under various evacuation flight by from India. There is also various connectivity projects, that India is playing an important role. So when we talk about road connectivity project at Dilaram, Zaranj road connectivity project is also being constructed and developed by India. It's a 218-kilometer road projects primarily being developed by India. So when we talk about Dilaram and Zaranj, these 2 points connecting, so this also gives a major connectivity push in Afghanistan. So when we talk about the transmission line, India has also played an important role as far as key infrastructure projects, be the power projects in Afghanistan. So yes, India is at the forefront as far as development of all these infrastructure projects, number one. Second, ensuring that the peace and stability can be ensured in Afghanistan. And last but not the least, how can people-to-people ties, trade ties, and connectivity can be given a major push as far as India and Afghanistan is concerned. So yes, today again it's a historic day as far as this signing of the Shehtut Dam is concerned. Shubhendu?
Yes, and you rightly mentioned, Arun, the point about people-to-people connect. That is really at the heart of close relations between any countries. And for India and Afghanistan, the cultural ties date back many centuries. And now in the modern times, whether it's training the human resources of Afghanistan to meet the challenges of 21st century, scholarships for Afghani students in India to learn about state-of-the-art technology and other streams of study. So that also is playing a key role in bringing the two nations closer.
Absolutely. And you'll be surprised to know the Afghanis say "Yari hai iman mera, yar meri zindagi," a famous Bollywood song. So when you talk and interact with various Afghanis, I had an opportunity to visit Afghanistan way back in 2015 and 16, and I had a word with various Afghanistan people over there. They said that "Yari hai iman mera, yar meri zindagi." That means they believe that India is their true friend. And as far as human resources development part is concerned, as far as skill development and skill training is concerned, India is playing a key role. As far as boosting the people-to-people ties are concerned, we have seen various Afghanistan students are coming under the various student exchange programs in New Delhi and in various parts of our country for getting trained as far as the skill development part is concerned. So yes, indeed, on one side, India is ensuring that how can peace and stability can be ensured as far as in this heart of Asia or Afghanistan is concerned. So on the other side, India is ensuring that how can various developmental projects in Afghanistan can be completed. As I mentioned earlier, that more than 150 projects have been committed or pledged by India that needs to be completed, and out of which Salma Dam is one of the prominent projects. The new parliament building is one of the prominent projects, and now the Shehtut Dam that is going to be signed today during this virtual summit. It is expected that this size of this Shehtut Dam is roughly more than $250 million. So you can understand the fact that how much importance India is giving for the developmental and infrastructure projects part in Afghanistan as well, because the answer to the problems like terrorism and to all those groups that are trying to create instability in the region is only development. So the moment you start developing the region, these kind of problems, start reducing at the point in time. So that's the reason why government of India and of course Prime Minister Narendra Modi is specifically focusing upon the part that how can infrastructure development can play a key role as far as, in the region like Afghanistan.
Right, Arun, do continue to stay with us. We'll continue our conversation. We're heading for a short break. We'll be right back. Do stay with us.